Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event, Mark's podcast, now on the Unhinged Sports Network. I am lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, Troy, and as always is my co-host with the most. He is the main event collector and WWE walking wrestling encyclopedia. The pig to my low-key big hog, he is Greg. How you doing, Greg?
You brought up that trash. At least I'm the naked guy.
Well, yeah, you're the not yet naked Midian. Yeah,
that was money, man.
You know, they never did tell us what the I and the O stood for. It was just Phineas it's Phineas I and Henry O. So,
do you really need an explanation?
No, but I don't know. I'm getting flashbacks to that episode of The Simpsons where Homer J. Simpson found out that the J just stood for J. It was like a big reveal. But anyway.
Is it wrong that I think the I stood for inbred? Anyways.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you're probably not wrong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about WWF In Your House 8, Beware of Dog, Part 1 and 2. That's right, it was a 2-night event. It wasn't booked that way, but it became that. And we'll get into all the reasons why and all that. Man, I'll tell you this. I've never seen the show before. This was my first time viewing it.
I think it's kind of a hidden, I can say classic, but I liked it.
It was definitely noteworthy for multiple reasons. Some of them good, some of them bad. So, I mean, there's some good stuff on this show. It wasn't a crap in your house event, even with the, maybe that's why Vince McMahon was so adamant in 2006 about taking on and defeating God, because God got one over on him here in 96. So he waited.
This is Mother Nature. I don't know if they're the same thing.
That's what, like Conrad Thompson talked about. He was like, well, God got his heat back at this past WrestleMania. Like, yeah, a little bit. But the show, hey, at least they've learned and they've got like generators and stuff now. But yeah,
not to get off topic, I thought that the rain delay only added to the intrigue of Lashley and McIntyre, actually. So I thought it worked in a way.
And they had to. Well, and they were able to do unscripted promos backstage. So that was cool. You never see that stuff because they didn't have enough time to write a script. They were like, damn it, go out and say something, kill time. It was almost like that after the draft that one time where they let guys do unscripted promos and Kalisto completely crapped the bed.
Crap the bed, man. I'm thinking like threw up and crapped and rolled around in it.
It was a bad. I like how
I nominate that for worst promo in history of promos.
It's
at least his were funny.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, yeah, we went from old school WCW NWA to back to 96 in the WWF. 96, how would you rank that on years for your fandom?
3, 4, or 5 probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it wasn't a terrible year by any means, but I feel like, you know how they always talk about rebuilding years in sports franchises? I feel like this was a rebuilding year for wrestling.
Because,
I mean, we just talked about a few weeks ago, we talked about Good Friends, Better Enemies, which was the pay-per-view before this, was the last WWF show for Diesel and Razor, and they would go off to WCW. So they were shaking a lot of things up. They were trying to get Vader over. Yokozuna was in and out of eating rehab, I guess. I don't know, weight management, all that stuff. And Shawn Michaels, they were still trying to solidify him as the top guy in the company. And Bret was out. He was off acting. That was unique. And Stone Cold was about to catch fire here before long. Well, Stone Cold was brand new, but I don't think it took him very long to catch fire. But we'll actually get into that King of the Ring. It was really one of his coming out parties as the Stone Cold character. We'll get into that next month in June. But we're going to take our first break here. When we come back, we'll get into all the news and notes of the time. We're talking from a time period around the end of May in 1996. There's a lot to get into with this. We'll do it right after the break, but first, I just want to let you know we are sponsored by Fubo TV and Fanatics. The links are down in the podcast description, and we'll tell you more about them in the upcoming breaks. We'll be right back after this.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the sport of kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back, and it is news and notes time. You know what the top story here has to be, Greg?
Yeah.
I mean, what else could it be?
It doesn't take a genius.
Yep. Diesel and Razor Ramon made their final WWF appearances at the house show, or at a house show in Madison Square Garden this past week, and it ended in a strange curtain call with the other members of the Clique in the ring. Both men were greeted with chants of "You sold out" and "Please don't go." After Razor Ramon's match with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, he grabbed the microphone and started to say goodbye to the bad guy. But since WWF officials didn't know what he might say, they cut the power to the mic before he could say much else. Shawn Michaels defeated Diesel in a cage match, and afterwards, Ramon and Helmsley came back out, and the four men embraced in the ring, celebrating together. Supposedly, this wasn't approved by the office, and many backstage were upset about the blatant kayfabe violation. The other Clique member, 123 Kid, wasn't there, and his future with WWF is in question after he showed up to an event recently, quote, in no condition to perform. And you know what that means.
Shocker.
He's not expected back until next month because of a stint in rehab. So he popped up in WCW not too far after this, right?
September.
Okay. So, yeah, not long after his good old buddies. Supposedly this was a very tumultuous time for Shawn Michaels because he was having to carry the company as the top babyface. His best friends were leaving, other than Triple H, obviously. And he was apparently in a lot of pain, taking a lot of pills for it, and all that good stuff. So this was not a good time for the Heartbreak Kid, but we could talk more about the curtain call, but I think if you're an actual wrestling fan and know anything about wrestling, this has been beat to death.
Yeah, like Montreal.
Yep. Yeah, so that's why those are the two subjects that we try not to dive too deep into, because it's like, yeah, it was a big deal for the time. It's weird to think about it now, because it seems like every single person has a curtain call when they're just switching shows, you know? Rivals got a hug. That's just become the thing now. It's like, oh, I'm leaving NXT, I'm going to Raw, I got to take a bow. Or I'm leaving this company to go to that company, I got to take a bow and hug my friends. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just been overdone. But yeah, getting on to the second big story here. Scott Hall debuted on WCW's Monday Nitro this week. he was pretty much acting the exact same as his Razor Ramon character, and he came out of the crowd acting like a WWF wrestler invading WCW. He cut a promo talking about Billionaire Ted, Scheme Gene, and the Nacho Man from the WWF parodies. And, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was funny, for sure. And it added intrigue, added more to his character, I feel. I mean, this really... We talked about this a lot if anybody wants to go back and listen to last June, we did Great American Bash 1996, where Hall and Nash actually come out on the show, and Bischoff asks them flat out, "Are you working with the WWF?" And they said, "Nope." That's because, they were getting sued.
It was kind of stupid to do.
What, to say they weren't working with the WWF or to sue them?
To not say that right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of like...
I mean, I remember watching it thinking they were, so they got me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And I could see, like, people saying it's like, oh, they're probably working for the WWF. He's coming out of the crowd. He's not really... He's just saying, well, it's like, oh, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here, you know. But at the same
nobody
time...
was thinking he was Big Scott Hall from the AWA. Now, come on.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, it's the Diamond Stud. He's returned. We talked about that last week. Go in the archives. Anyway.
And Oz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Both these guys were on that show. My gosh. I didn't realize this. Scott Hall's debut on Nitro was the first 2-hour Nitro.
Yeah.
I didn't even
interrupted the Mike Enos match, man. I was so pissed because I was into that match.
Yeah, Mike Enos and...
Oh, I think they called him the Mauler. I don't know who the hell he was wrestling. I can't remember, but I think they called him the Mauler.
Yeah, good grief. Well, yeah, so... And I remember he was in the super tight jeans, and he had the denim vest. That was his outfit for the night. The Raw, however... it's weird to think Nitro was the first one to go 2 hours. Raw didn't go for 2 hours until spring of 97. I actually looked that up. So it took them a while to decide, we need to go, you know.
Yeah, it was the first one with the big Titantron and Marilyn Manson's The Beautiful People open the show, which they would later use for SmackDown. So, yeah.
Wow, I had no idea about all that.
Pretty sure that's the night Brett shoved Vince on his ass and told him everything was BS.
Yeah. Vince was always taking bumps back in the day, getting whooped on by Brett or Austin or somebody.
From my knowledge, this was the first time I ever seen him physically assaulted.
Yeah, that was Brett. I think Brett was the first one to put his hands on Vince.
Yep, a couple times.
Right, yeah. I remember. Didn't he like pull his shirt over like a hockey fight, whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that.
That's stereotypical about that.
Yeah. Whoa, you mean the Canadian likes hockey? Like, no. Just like when
color me shocked.
Well, like this when the NHL season started up, Edge was like constantly posting on social media about it and wearing jerseys and whatever. He's a Leafs fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Toronto. Well, according to Uncle Dave Meltzer, waiting for you with a comment.
No, I want to hear this because I'm trying to figure out what it could possibly be.
Well, he said, here we go. The plan for Hall, Kevin Nash, and probably Lex Luger, pretending that he's still been with the WWF all this time. They will face the WCW team of Sting, Randy Savage, and either the Giant or Ric Flair at Bash at the Beach. Yeah.
Well, they were all involved.
Yeah. Lex was on the other team, although they did. Was he the one that got stretchered out halfway through the match?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So they did build, a question with that.
I remember watching and thinking he was coming back down.
Yeah, he's the third man. God dang it. But Dave says that this is similar to how New Japan Pro Wrestling drew record crowds by using UWFI wrestlers and pretending that they were still with UWFI, even though New Japan Pro Wrestling had secretly already taken the entire promotion over. that was like the rumor forever was, oh, Bischoff ripped this off in New Japan because Dave started that. He saw it in Japan first, so therefore it was that.
Yeah, the whole thing was like 7 stars in Japan. This barely scratched 3.
Right. Well, Bischoff claims he never knew about that. He never saw the angle. He claims, I don't know, it sounds reasonable. He said, well, all these guys were already in WCW at one point. They were buried with stupid gimmicks, and then they had to go to the WWF to get over, and now they're coming back to get revenge and take over.
How do you not call Bischoff brilliant for that?
Yeah, I mean, if that really was his strategy, and he's not, full of crap, then that was, and I have no reason to doubt him. But yeah, that is brilliant.
I mean, I don't think that he's like, oh, I'm gonna let them get built, bring them back in and form this new world order. I think he saw the opportunity and jumped at it. That's what I mean, and that's just brilliant.
Yeah, and for WWF stars and all that, and Luger didn't join the Black and White, did he? He only joined the Wolfpack?
No, never. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, he was. Same with Sting. Sting never joined the white and the Black and White. He only joined the Wolfpack.
Oh, but he painted his face like him though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know. The guy who his main rival were the NWO, he looked like he belonged in the NWO. That's just funny. Well, WWF, as you would expect, is not happy about all of this. WWF still believes that they own the intellectual rights to the Razor Ramon character, the slick back hair, the accent, the toothpick, etc. And since Hall used all of that during his first appearance, there's talks of a lawsuit, though it's unsure how WWF's fight would hold up in court. Spoiler, it held up pretty well. Although, I mean, the only thing Hall had to drop was he couldn't do the carve you up thing anymore, and he had to quit talking like he was from Cuba. I mean, that's about it. Everything else he kept. Bischoff said he wishes he could go back now, knowing what he knows now, because he said he was doing. I mean, we talked about it last week. The Diamond Stud character, he came out with the toothpick, the slick back hair, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so, I liked it.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a huge fan of his anyways, but so.
Right. So he didn't change his look up that much to go from Diamond Stud to Razor Ramon. I think he leaned out, but that was about it. You'll have to tell me if you remember this one. WCW Slamboree is in the books. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I think I watched it.
Okay, well,
was this
recent
Oh, go ahead.
Well, it was a lethal lottery show, and it was pretty much garbage.
Yep.
The most interesting thing that was supposed to happen was Road Warriors Animal and Hawk ended up on opposite teams, but Hawk broke his foot in Japan and couldn't work, so he never tagged into the match. So the partners never faced off. The show's buy rate is way down from the last month's uncensored pay-per-view, which blows my mind.
Yeah, because that one was even worse. That was the Alliance to End Hulkamania.
Yep, the 3-tiered cage where Hogan and Savage started on the top and had to fight like 20 dudes going all the way down. And then the Booty Man runs in with frying pans and helps him win.
Yeah, you just said all that. That's not a you didn't misspeak.
No, yeah, this all happened in 96. So I'm just putting that out there. But that once again shows that Hulk Hogan is the one who pops WCW's big buy rates. There's other factors involved in the low buy rate, but it's hard to argue that the fact that Hogan is the draw when every pay-per-view he doesn't appear on, the buy rate plummets.
Yep.
He has a point.
And he was not on a lot of pay-per-views in that run, too.
I know. What did he do, 4 a year?
Felt like it.
Yeah, I know.
I think I added up from the time he wins the title, he's not at like 7 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
As a champion, by the way.
In 96.
People give WWE crap for Brock Lesnar. I'm like, well, this is happening way before. It's just this is happening now.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely. Well, the thing with Hogan was, like, I'm trying to think of how, like, just in 96, obviously uncensored. I don't know if he was at
Let's see, 96. I don't think there was a January pay-per-view yet. So, Super Brawl.
Okay.
Was there? Was he at Super Brawl?
I don't know that one. Super Brawl 6, this would have been. So.
Because I know that was Savage and Flair, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Was that at that one? I thought it was 95. Okay.
Wait, yeah. They might have wrestled twice, actually.
Super Brawl 6 was Hogan and Giant. Okay. Oh, and it was the I Respect You strap match.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was there.
So then he skips Spring Stampede. He skips the one you just talked about, Slamboree. He skips Great American Bash.
And he was at
that he's gone from.
Yeah.
Then he was obviously at Bash the Beach.
Yeah, Bash the Beach.
Well,
Hog Wild.
Do you want to count that? Because he appeared, but obviously in the last 10 minutes. So
it counts, brother.
Yeah, but
hey, that works for him, brother.
Right.
So that there's and there's Hog Wild, so that's 4. He was at Halloween Havoc, that's 5. But anyway, so it's hard to argue with all those numbers. Sticking with the Road Warriors, though, they have quit WCW. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah. Well, the story starts out with, "Stop me if you heard this one before." The Road Warriors have quit WCW. It's the same situation from a month or so ago when they heard about how Hall and Nash are getting paid and felt that they should be making the same. Yeah. In 96. Not 89. 96. All right, keep that in mind.
Yeah, because what could go wrong with Road Warrior Hawk?
Yeah, right. WCW disagreed, and they've been trying to work it out for the last few weeks, but it apparently didn't happen, so they're gone. Yeah. They'd pop up in WWF and get involved in a bunch of skirmishes.
Literally.
Yeah, weren't they a part of all the gang warfare stuff coming up? Yeah. I remember.
An unofficial gang with Ahmed Johnson and Ken Shamrock.
Because they all wore red.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right? Am I like?
Yeah, I mean, in a gang warfare though, I would take Ken Shamrock on my side any day of the week, but I don't know about the rest of them. But
I'd take the Road Warriors for sure. I mean,
in 1997, I'm good.
Yeah.
Drunks and off their rockers, I'm good.
Wow. Buried.
Hey, I love them. You know that, but they were not great in 97, dude. They were not.
I just thought of a really effed up thing. I don't know if I should say. F it. I'll say it. I thought of, oh, what a lush. No?
No.
Come on. Anyway, he cleaned it up before he died. So anyway.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying in 1996, 97, they were not what they were used to be.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying like he was a lush. So there you go. Another WWF. Well, going the other way, I guess. Brian Clark, aka Adam Bomb, denies that he's going to WCW as part of the Blood Runs Cold vignettes and is planned to be a 3-man ninja group. I bet he wanted to. I bet by saying this, he really wanted to show them dirt sheet writers his wrath.
Wow.
Come on. That one was good. Come on.
The 3-man Blood Runs Cold thing, though, I mean, that was not a thing because there was just 2 of them.
Well, I mean, wasn't the storyline just called Blood Runs Cold?
That was Glacier's storyline.
Yeah, I just thought it was all 3 of them. Him, Mortis, and Glacier.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably all associated, but I think it was only for Glacier because they actually bring that crap back. In 2000, and Tony Schiavone buries it on commentary.
Oh
my God, folks, we're gonna do this again. You got to be kidding me! Oh my God.
Wasn't it Blood Runs Colder?
Yes, or Still Runs Cold.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
I like Bruce Pritchard said something about the merchandising in WCW, and Hogan getting a big cut, and he was like, "Well, them Glacier T-shirts weren't exactly flying off the racks."
I loved Glacier though. I mean, the whole presentation was cool, but then that damn
Yeah,
I still think
style.
one of the coolest entrances in the history of wrestling, by the way.
Oh, it was definitely elaborate. It was pretty sweet. WCW wanted Great Muta to put over Diamond Dallas Page at the next pay-per-view.
I'm Dallas white trash.
Wow. But New Japan Pro Wrestling sees Page as a prelim wrestler, so they refuse to send Muta to work the show. Wow. In 96, Diamond Dallas Page was considered a prelim wrestler.
Could be seen on NXT. Spoiler a little. We're recording a little ahead. You never know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it would take him another 3 years to win the world title, but, whatever. Steve McMichael and Kevin Green have been training at the WCW Power Plant for their upcoming debuts. Word is that McMichael is doing great as a personality, but Green is better in ring. Yeah, I'd say that's true.
Yeah, Kevin Green was just crazy good for what he was.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But
it sounds weird saying, but he was.
I mean, I feel bad, laughing at him now, because then we'll get into, whatever's going on. But, we've talked about that Twitter account of his, well, it's not his, but it's about him. Like, that's my Mongo. It's just,
they changed it to Mongo and Friends now, so it's like other stuff. So
yeah, because they ran out of all the clips. They burned through all the clips of Mongo just being ridiculous in the ring. But yeah, what do you say he has? Lou Gehrig's disease now?
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, I mean you can donate to help him out. I think his what was his number? 36 or whatever? I don't know. But it was like Steve McMichael, and then whatever.
Oh, you mean on the football field? It was like 50 something. No, it was not 36, because then he'd do like a running back or a lineman. Yeah, it's got to be a 50s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but either way, you can go to his website and kind of help him out. Just do a quick Google search for him. I think he's got a GoFundMe and all that. But yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to Mongo. That really sucked. I couldn't believe when you told me that like a week ago. That's nuts. Didn't expect that. Chavo Guerrero Jr., nephew of Eddie, got a tryout at the Nitro tapings. There's no word on how he did.
Well, I assume pretty well.
Yeah, he had a nice long career out of it. And hey, here, in another decade, he'd be a white guy.
I was almost going to say his catchphrase, but I don't want that to be misconstrued, so I'm not going to say it.
I like how they changed it. It's like, well, people might take that the wrong way, but him saying, well, if it ain't white, it ain't right. So they changed it to, if it ain't Kerwin white, it ain't right. Like, yeah, that's better.
It's a little more subtle, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, this one, man. We already talked about this this character. So, occasional ECW wrestler Big Titan worked the recent ECW show as a character named Slice and Dice Ramirez, which was a total riff on the Razor Ramon character. He had the same gear, the toothpick, slick back hair, etc. For those that don't know, this is Rick Bogner, who went on to be the fake Razor.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the fake Diesel was Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. WWE Hall of Famer Kane.
I just pieced this together, dude. In the within the same year or so, we had a fake Razor Ramon, a fake Diesel, and a fake Sting. Why was this a thing? I just realized that.
Oh, I know. And here, when the fake Sting gets going, Buddy Landell was feeding the rumor mill, saying, yeah, WCW is going to bring me in to be the fake Nature Boy for the NWO.
Man.
Obviously, that didn't happen for a myriad of reasons.
Thank God.
I know.
What do you mean the fake Nature Boy? Wasn't he Nature Boy first?
Not first, but he was a Nature Boy, yeah. Buddy Landell was like the Indies Nature Boy.
Random ass reason he got a run on Raw in like 1995, I think it was. 96.
Yeah. He was on.
Random as hell, dude.
He was in 90, like on one of those In Your Houses in 95, and they used Ric Flair's.
Yeah, I think it was the Hogpen one.
Yeah. Yeah, was that,
one, yeah.
Season, or no, not Seasons Beating. What the hell was it called?
The December one, yeah. But...
Yeah, right. That one, and they used Ric Flair's old WWF theme for him.
Yeah, tongue in cheek.
Right. How much you want to bet that theme hit? And people were like, "Who the hell is this guy? When did Rick let himself go?"
Or the theme hit and they went crazy and like, oh wait.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. Oh.
I remember 1997, Rock and Roll Express were on Raw. They used the Rockers' old theme, and I went crazy because I was a huge fan of theirs. And nope.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell?
I mean, I knew who the Rock and Roll Express was, so it wasn't like, who the hell are these guys? I'm like, why are they using this song?
I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was Jim Cornette. He said when Vince brought them in for an interview, the Rock and Roll Express, that is, he leaned over to Jim and he was like, "Which one's Ricky and which one's Robert?" It's like, do you seriously don't know who the hell the Rock and Roll Express is? I know they've never been here before.
Why does that shock you?
It's like they're the biggest. Besides the LOD, they were the biggest tag team not in his company. I figured he would have tried to sign him at one point.
Might argue that's the Midnight Express, but
well, they're right. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those three: the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express. It's like, I don't know. And he did interview the Midnight Express. He hired the Road Warriors. Never gave a damn about the Rock and Roll Express. That one.
Till they went to Smoky Mountain, and he had to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bruce Pritchard was saying he basically brought him in to placate Jim Cornette. So I mean, which wouldn't shock me. But either way, sticking with ECW, unfortunately,
God,
they're doing an angle with Raven where he keeps telling Stevie Richards to find him slutty holes, and then every time Richards brings him one, Raven turns her down because she's not slutty enough. The idea.
People like this crap. Keep in mind, people defend ECW to this day.
Oh, yeah, I got into an argument with a guy. I kind of laughed, and I wasn't even arguing with him. I was just laughing at the guy on Twitter because he was trying to say, well, I can't even bear to watch the crap on, that's currently on TV. I watched the good old classic stuff. And he starts naming off all these things, and then he says ECW. And I put, LMAO, you just said ECW was good old classic stuff. All right, buddy.
It's classic something.
Yeah. But the idea is apparently for Raven to keep rejecting the whores. I'm saying this because that's what they called him.
The ladies of the knights.
Yeah, right. The women of ill repute. Classing up here.
Wow. You went really PC with that, but okay.
Yeah, right. But until Richards brings him the right one, which will probably be Sandman's real-life wife, Peaches, to start a feud with him. Well, that did happen. That was the payoff.
And what a payoff it was.
Yeah. And then a couple years later, actually, I think 4 years later, Steve Corino attempts sexual assault to her on live pay-per-view and says that Raven was giving it to her in the back. So there you go.
Goldust would have just did it.
If you don't shut up, I'm coming out in that crowd and shoving my tongue down your throat.
God.
Real quote. Anyway, finally, with the ECW stuff, Paul Heyman is looking to bring in a UFC fighter to put over Taz. One name that's been brought up is you might be able to help me here. Paul Verlans?
Never heard of him.
Okay. Well, anyway, since he's interested
in
becoming
one of the freak show
wrestler,
days of the UFC, so I didn't watch that one.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, apparently he was interested in becoming a pro wrestler. I don't think it ever happened. At least not in the big time.
I was talking to ECW, so I assume that kind of set him on wrestling, and he thought they were all like that.
He probably came in and was like, never mind, and he left. Speaking of UFC fighters, Ken Shamrock has a starring role in an upcoming movie called Champions, where he plays, wait for it, a no-holds-barred shoot-fighting champion.
There's a stretch.
I know, right? That man has range. Man. I've never heard of that movie. Have you? Champions? Nope. Yeah, neither have I. Moving on here. This one I had to put in there just because of the feud. Finally, with the UFC stuff, UFC 9 was hampered by last-minute court orders and legal challenges to prevent it from happening. This was on top of no punching rules, which just blows my mind, and Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock having arguably the worst fight in UFC history.
Yeah, they circled the ring octagon for like 30 minutes or something like that.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you even know who won that fight?
That might have been the one that Shamrock won.
I'm looking at it.
I know they each have one win. I don't know which one won that one.
Severn won in a split decision. Ugh.
Oh, how split was that?
They all ended, every fight on the card except for that one ended via TKO, by the way.
That's pretty bad when the stars couldn't finish off one another.
I know. You had the only name I recognize on this whole card, by the way, outside of that main event, is Don Fry in the opening fight.
That mustache.
Hell yes. Him and Dan Severn must have just had a mustache off. Well, Dwayne Johnson debuted under the name Flex Kavana at the latest USWA show.
How's that going to work out?
Teaming with Brian Christopher in a match against Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee.
Wow. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. I assume this was because Lawler and Dundee were really trying to train Johnson and Christopher. I mean, usually when they do that kind of stuff, it's because the older guys are really putting in the work with them. And it paid off. I mean,
no nepotism at all there.
You're right. Yeah, I see big things coming for that Dwayne Johnson fella. I like when they were calling him up. Bruce Pritchard said, like I said, they were calling him Flex Kavana, which the hell is that? And Vince McMahon's actual quote about it, he was like, "What the hell is a Flex Kavana? Change his name." So yeah. Speaking of bright future,
what does he do?
What
does he do nowadays?
I don't know. He rode off into the sunset, and I've never heard from him again. But anyway,
that's funny how in this year he's a freaking footnote, and now he's arguably on the Mount Rushmore wrestling. Just funny how that starts.
Jim Ross will never stop telling people that I signed this guy. I made sure I tied him down. I signed him. I got him.
Yeah, that, and he signed the Hardys when they were underage.
Yeah. Well, hot damn, kid. They used fake IDs. I don't know what to say. I don't know, but sassafras and all that. But speaking of the tag team called the Hardy Boys, who Uncle Dave claims their names are Matt and Chip Hardy. Wrongo. But anyway, they got a tryout match at the latest Raw tapings. Apparently, they looked pretty green. Also, a guy named James Arndt worked a tryout match and looked pretty good. He later became Joey Abs of the Mean Street Posse.
Good God. He was there this whole time?
I guess so. He was in their back pocket.
Oh. I was 8 years old when I found that out.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you know that Arndt guy? Call him up. We see big things in him.
If anybody asks, you used to date Stephanie, by the way.
Seriously?
No, that was the whole thing with Mean Street Posse.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, well, and Shane went to school with him. I guess he legit did go to school with all of them. Was it Joey Abs, Pete Gas, and
Rodney?
Rodney, was that it?
So cool, he just had one name.
Oh, yeah, like Madonna or Prince. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God.
Brian Pillman had a meeting with Vince McMahon last week, and he was supposed to meet with Eric Bischoff soon after, but the meeting never took place. Word is that Pillman and WCW are not agreeing on money, and it's looking likely that Pillman is heading to the WWF. He'll continue to do promos in ECW for now, and word is that the WWF has agreed to let him work a match there with Shane Douglas after he's healed from his car wreck injuries, so they can wrap up the angle that they've already started. That match never actually...
I don't think that ever happened.
No, it never actually happened, as it took Pillman way longer than planned to heal up. So WWF wanted him, and they were like, look, you can have him for some promos. So,
well, I mean, it was good enough for just that anyway, so.
I mean, we did get that epic moment where he threatened to pull out his Johnson and piss in the ring. So.
Wow, funny because he did that, and JLR said that whole arena was full of crap. I feel like it's a metaphor. I feel like it's a metaphor for ECW as a whole.
A lot of bodily functions going on in that company. What was
I barf thinking about it, so there you go.
Wow. What was supposed to be the big news coming out of the Madison Square Garden show was the Godwins winning the tag titles from the Body Donnas, but needless to say, the curtain call overshadowed that, I'd say. The plan is for Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith to eventually win the belts from the Godwins, so this is a way to get the titles on a babyface team. Did they?
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't remember what happened next. Whatever.
The Headbangers are involved in there too within like a year.
Oh man. I have Jack's figures of them.
It's been a while.
Yeah, right. The controversial angle where Goldust looked like he was going to go down on a laid-out Undertaker earlier this month on Raw was edited when it aired on TV and wasn't nearly as graphic as it was live.
Wow. I wonder if there's some raw footage of that. No pun intended.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen that.
Apparently, Undertaker was laid out, before he did his sit-up, and Goldust went down and started licking up his thigh towards his little dead man. And, Undertaker popped up, and that was the end of that.
I don't even think with pun you want to be calling that a dead anything, but whatever.
Yeah, well, wow. This was way over the frickin' line. But according to Bruce Pritchard, I
feel like once or so every so often we say this was a prelude to the Attitude Era. I feel like we just said that with the last In Your House we did.
Well, we did say that this was, I said this was kind of a rebuilding year for both companies, restructuring. So it was very much, it was still the New Generation era, but yeah, they were getting a little attitude-y. Last story here, speaking of attitude. God dang it, that's attitude, pal.
Non-stop attitude.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's Kid Cash.
No, it's, Shawn Michaels will pose for the October issue of Playgirl magazine.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He is, there's a famous picture of him laying on his side wearing nothing but the WWF title over his junk.
He probably had a smile the
Oh, well, yeah, there's that. And his earring.
He hadn't lost it yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I think he had lost it, and then he got it back, and then he was going to lose it again. Lots of smile losing in this era. But anyway, that's it for the news and notes. I guess we should take our next break and actually dive into the event at hand. Real quick, if you are listening on the podcast feed and, listening whenever you want, whatever, if it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anything in between, please subscribe and leave a review. 5 stars, please, like good old Uncle Dave. And, we would greatly appreciate it. It gets us seen by more people.
And if you're in Japan, you download it 7 stars, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get a boost that way. We're huge in Japan, brother. And if you are not listening on the Unhinged Sports Network, you can catch us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on unhingedsn.airtime.pro. And then we play right afterwards an encore at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. And then our next replay will be 8 Eastern the very next night on unhingedsn.airtime.pro or just unhingedsn.com. But we're going to take our next break, and when we come back, it's Beware a Dog.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
We shared a room.
Shared a room.
We shared a room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast.
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah. Well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAS. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
Yeah, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
The main event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. WWF in your house 8. Beware of dog time.
That doesn't work for me, dog.
Wow, bit pitchy, dog. But the dates, and yes, I said dates, plural, are May 26th and 28th, 1996. The tagline, oddly enough, was "It's Vader time." I was today years old when I found that out. I thought the tagline was supposed to be "Beware of dog," but no. The venues were both in South Carolina. The first one was the Florence Civic Center in Florence, South Carolina, and the North Charleston Coliseum in North Charleston, South Carolina. Flair country, woo! The attendance for the first show was 6,000, and the second show was 4,500. The pay-per-view buy rate, all in all, was .45. I can't remember if it was Pritchard or Ross, one of them we're talking about. They lost a lot of money on this because of the whole, pay-per-view debacle and having to do a replay. And this was not a time when the WWF was exactly rolling in dough. WCW was...
Nor did they have their own network.
No. Yeah, and WCW was, coming in hot with Nitro at this point, too. So they were fighting, man. A fun fact, by the way, to this date, this is the only WWE pay-per-view event to ever be held in South Carolina.
Who the hell want to go to Carolina anyways?
Hey, North Carolina is pretty historic. South Carolina, I'd like to go to their beach. Myrtle Beach is fun, but other than that, nah.
I live in California, so...
I know beaches don't impress you, but they do me. So that's the Atlantic Ocean. You get that there, Pacific. But I guess most of this card were dark matches, but I, for one, am disappointed that I got to miss out on Bob Holly versus Isaac effing Yankem DDS. Over in WCW, they just brought in Scott Hall to do a reality-based angle. And over here, we got a race car driver versus an evil dentist. Good stuff,
I see
man.
Money, man.
Right.
Dude, you can make left turns and get a root canal at the same time, man. Who the hell wouldn't want that?
Hell yeah. And Isaac Yankem's theme song was literally just a drill.
I gave Sergeant Slaughter's military drums a run for its money.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's right up there with the siren for RTC. The opening package for the pay-per-view shows that Diana Hart-Smith has been accusing Shawn Michaels of trying to steal her away from Davey Boy. But Shawn
making her a whore or something.
Yeah. Why you making Diana look like a whore? Yeah, you some kind of pervert or something. Give the Rhino a job. Sorry, I had to get that one.
That's how we appeased them, so it worked. So whatever.
Yeah, right. Like, what can I do for you, Stu? Yeah, the Rhino's doing real good. You could use another run. Anyway.
And he always did. That's the thing.
He did. Even Bischoff gave him a damn job in 98. Yeah.
He's been so.
But Shawn Michaels is denying all this, by the way, saying that Diana was the aggressor. This is all leading to the main event feud. I guess this whole thing got dropped. Pritchard and Ross were both talking about this. They said this dropped because the Hart family was, they're like, well, she's not playing a character. I mean, she's going by her real name, and people around here take it seriously. And it's like, yeah, 'cause people up in Calgary are apparently effing weirdos. So they think she's really messing around behind Davey Boy's back. Like, for God's sake.
Behind his back, it was on national TV in front of all of us.
Yeah, that's even worse. If you're trying to hide it, you're doing a damn, horrible job. The best thing to come out of this play-up was freaking Jim Cornette's promos, where he's telling Diana, you point at Shawn Michaels and you call him a fornicator.
I've heard him speak nowadays. Okay, he would use something far more graphic, but
he would use a much shorter F word. So, yeah. So, anyway, this is all leading to the main event feud. The build-up package for the first match. We see that on Superstars, Bob frickin' Backlund attacked Wildman Mark Marrow, locked him in a crossface chicken wing, and then Hunter Hearst Helmsley ran in and laid him out with a pedigree. Laid Marrow out, that is. God dang it, pronouns, pal. And then backstage, Doc Hendricks is standing by with Mark Marrow and Sable. Marrow drops his catchphrases about answering the call of the wild. And then he tells Helmsley, welcome to the jungle. Which I'm a little shocked they didn't get popped for, but, whatever.
Lars Ulrich would have sued him, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm surprised Axl Rose didn't. But Doc Hendricks then pervs out over Sable as she walks away.
Doop.
Yeah, he's like they make it super freaking weird because she they walk away and he looks over at Sable. He's like, whoo, oh man, it's like, dude, what the hell?
I just got a Mattel figure of him.
Oh yeah, does it come with a fanny pack?
No.
Ah, damn it. He should come with a pull string where he's just like, doot, and then you pull it again. He's like, Dabes.
Pull something. Anyways.
Wow. First match, we get Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I said, with Brunette Valet, because they never say her name. He's taking on Wildman Mark Marrow with Sable, who is all the way live here tonight.
Hello, Roll Tide.
Damn straight. It goes for almost 16 and a half minutes. Continuing on his tradition from WCW, Mark Marrow opens the pay-per-view. Vince McMahon warns us during this match that storms are getting really bad and they may cut out on us. King's headset even starts messing up at one point, cutting out.
I have to imagine, I don't remember it. I mean, I think I watched it live, but I don't remember what he said, but I have to imagine they dubbed that in.
The storm thing?
No, him saying that.
Oh, no, that was actually live on the pay-per-view. It's been talked about. They said, yeah, because they had to warn us, and then...
So they knew this was coming. I mean...
Yeah.
They didn't do anything about. Well, that's their dumbass fault. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have the generators. I guess it just I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't, especially when does nobody look at a damn weather report? I don't know. But either way.
I didn't know it gets like that in May over in freaking the East Coast.
Oh, in the Carolinas? Oh yeah, they get hurricanes and all that crap all the time especially during the spring.
Why I said who wants to go there? Okay.
Yeah, if you're gonna go during the summer. Yeah, it's a little more crowded, but you're more than likely gonna avoid the storms. Regardless, the crowd didn't give a damn about this match. You could have heard a mouse pissing on cotton, and it drags on forever. It wasn't bad. I don't know. Helmsley stops beating on Marrow at one point to go outside and force Sable to watch. This leads to Marrow reversing the pedigree into a catapult, sending Hunter face first into the ring post, and then Marrow pins him for the win. This, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this. Uncle Dave gave it 3 stars. I gave it 2. What say you?
I gave it 2. I was kind of bored. It went way too long, I thought.
Yeah, this dragged way out. I think
I clocked it was it 14, 15 minutes?
16 and a half, yeah. Freaking, why are you going to give freaking Mark Marrow and, well, I don't know. On paper, I would see Mark Marrow versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley at 16 minutes, and I'd think, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. Both are great wrestlers. But, man, it was just boring. And Marrow spent most of the match getting his ass beat. I don't know. This was the start of Triple H getting buried, by the way. So it's a phrase you'll never hear ever again. But, yeah, Vince McMahon was going to bury him for the curtain call incident. So this was the start of it. Mr. Perfect is in the British Bulldogs locker room with a random guy in a suit, Diana Hart-Smith, a beaten-up Owen Hart who had his hand wrapped up. I said he deserved it for wearing that damn Michigan tracksuit. And a beaten-up Clarence Mason and Jim Cornette. Do you know what the hell happened to Clarence Mason?
He popped up in WCW for a little bit with
No, I mean, like, what happened to him here? He was, like, damn near in a body cast.
Yeah, well, nothing happened to him, okay? He got, like, super kicked on Raw. And,
oh, my gosh.
And acting like he destroyed his body.
Wow. I'm wondering what happened to Owen Hart's hand, though, because he had it all wrapped up.
He legit broke that in a match.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
But he never stopped wrestling either, so.
Yeah, that sounds like a Hart. Yeah, like I said, he deserves it for wearing that damn tracksuit. Cornette says that he's got an official state of South Carolina manager's license for Owen, so he can be at ringside with Davey Boy tonight. They keep referring to a bomb Cornette is going to drop on Shawn Michaels tonight. I honestly thought it was going to be Vader.
I did too going into it because it made sense, but
yeah, Vader bomb.
In hindsight, it should have been.
Yeah, because he was part of Camp Cornette, so that would have tied in. And Shawn did transition about a month and a half later into a feud with Vader, I think. So either way, Doc Hendricks is interviewing Shawn Michaels backstage. The video is a bit messed up at this point. Shawn says that he's concentrated and focused, not worried at all about Cornette's bombshell, and it's not beware of dog, but beware of the click. Cool. I guess.
Yeah, clever.
Yeah, right. Then
are they all on at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Well, no, Greg, the clicker is fans. Gosh. Anyway, then as he's walking through the backstage, he sees Mr. Perfect laughing at him, and Jose Lothario has to hold Shawn back. So apparently Mr. Perfect knew what was going on.
Shawn trying to beat up a guy who's already hurt. Loser.
Right. Hey, he can't take any bumps, man. He's collecting that big old Lloyd's of London policy. Anyway, we're getting into the main event and has our second match with this edit because the Storms talked about earlier knocked out the Power. In fact, the Power went out for over an hour. The show was off the air on pay-per-view for 25 minutes before Jerry Lawler and Vince McMahon came on, telling viewers to stay tuned and saying that matches were continuing in the arena and would air on the May 28th replay, but the Power stayed off for so long that when it returned, they only had time for the main event. While the Power was out, they used battery-operated cameras and used a generator to be able to barely light the ring so that even people in the crowd could barely see the matches. Yeah, they showed footage of that. It was dark as hell. They did no ring introductions or entrances because none of the footage was usable due to the lighting. They decided to just redo the matches live on Tuesday night in a different city for the replay. F it, we'll do it live.
I think they got some TV tapings in there too, so it worked out.
Yeah, some things changed that we'll get into here in a bit.
Plans changed.
Your main event is your second match of the card, everybody. It's the Heartbreak.
This is like that special main event, that Super Brawl when the Kiss Demon had a match, right? It's special main event.
Oh my gosh. I forgot they labeled it like that because they promised Gene Simmons X amount of main events for the character. So that was their loophole. Yikes.
I remember I was at that crap.
Oh, lucky you. And you were at the Chamber of Horrors, or no, House of Horrors. That was it. Yep. Chamber of Horrors was WCW. We'll have to review that someday, but today is not that day. Either way, it's the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, defending the WWF title. He's got Jose Lothario in his corner. He's taking on the British Bulldog with Diana Smith and Owen Hart in his corner. This went just shy of 17 and a half minutes. Jerry Lawler says something about Shawn Michaels being in Playgirl magazine, and Vince states emphatically that it's, quote, just an interview. Sure. I like Shawn making fun of himself later on. Like, they brought it up on, you remember they brought it up on, like, Raw one time? And he's like,
Yep.
I was young. I needed the money. Anyway, before the match, Clarence Mason serves Shawn Michaels with a summons for charges of, quote, attempted alienation of affection. What the F is that?
It's a brand new law.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, Shawn reads the papers as the bell rings, and then he rips them up before Bulldog jumps him. Referee Earl Hebner gets bumped at one point, leading to Owen getting in and getting super kicked. Bulldog attempts a running power slam, but Michaels slides out, shoves Bulldog into the corner before pinning him with a German suplex. A second referee, Mike Chioda, runs down, counts the pin, and he declares Bulldog the winner, saying that Shawn Michaels' shoulders were down. Earl Hebner wakes up, however, and says that Michaels won. We'll get into the aftermath here in a second, but Uncle Dave and I both gave it 2.5 stars. This is one of the lowest rated Shawn Michaels matches I've had in recent memory. What say you?
I gave it 2 as well. They will have a better one in a month.
This just, I wasn't impressed. I was expecting way more. This just, I'm not gonna say it sucked. It didn't suck, but just neither guy really looked like they looked like they were going through the motions. I don't know. Diana Smith takes the WWF title and she poses with it, but WWF President Gorilla Monsoon comes down and takes it from her, gets in the ring to
Also, it was
talk with the
upside down.
referees.
Did you notice that?
I did. I was like, whoa. They now declare both men had their shoulders down, so this match was a draw. And Shawn Michaels retains the title, quote, pending a rematch, according to the announcement from Howard Finkel. It was reported...
Hell way to end this pay-per-view, by the way.
Oh, I know. After all of that, then this. And Conrad had brought up, because, like, nobody was impressed with this. So Conrad Thompson brought up, he was like, you'd think they would just do a rematch, like, 2 nights later. But nope. They were like, good enough. Moving on.
Yeah, I had a plan for the King of the Ring, so it was fine.
Right. Well, it was reported that Michaels was off his game and spent half of the match jawing with a heckling fan at ringside and appeared to be pissed off. He did. Every time they showed him, he just had a blank look on his face, like he wasn't into it. But after the match, he threw another tantrum when his music cue was missed, but that was edited out of the replays. He wouldn't even celebrate, and then just when they dropped the lights and played his theme, he just left. I don't know. So even after all of that, he can't even, like, dance around a little bit for the fans. He's just like, I'm out of here. F it. Been a rough night. Now we go into night 2 of Beware of Dog. The new announced team is Jim Ross and Mr. Perfect. Before the match begins, we see very dark footage of their match from 2 days before on night 1 of Beware of Dog. Steve Austin, Savio Vega in a strap match. Then we get footage from Raw where Ted DiBiase says that if Stone Cold Steve Austin loses to Savio Vega, he'll quit the WWF. That was a last-minute change because DiBiase put in his notice the other day that he was leaving for WCW when his contract expired in August. DiBiase has a Lloyd's of London disability deal and is supposed to collect a major lump sum on that soon after suffering a career-ending neck injury a while back. So he won't be wrestling in WCW, but he may be able to take occasional bumps as a manager, which he did. So I think this was WWF letting him go early because they're like, well, you've been good to us, here you go, bye. When did he pop up in WCW? Because I know he was
August, September.
Wasn't his first appearance where he was just shown in the crowd holding up like 4 fingers to symbolize there's a fourth man?
I think he might have
started.
I think he might have started with money and then that. Because as you know, that's what WCW does. They tease what they were before.
Of course, yeah. Well, keep in mind, by the way, this is a weird thing to think about. He was only 42 here. AJ Styles, I think, is 43, I want to say. That's just nuts, man. But now we get Stone Cold Steve Austin with Ted DiBiase in his corner taking on Savio Vega in a Caribbean strap match. And if Austin loses, DiBiase quits. This one went 21.5 minutes. Time to make with a scrapation, dude.
Yappa pie.
Yeah, the Yappa Pie Indian strap match, brother. We're covering that someday, Greg. I'm putting it on the schedule, damn it.
Oh, I got plans that day.
Yeah, you got to wash your hair. These two had a hell of a match, pal. I'll get into why I said it that way, but they beat the absolute crap out of one another, man. I think DiBiase was honestly an underrated manager. I loved everything he did outside the ring. The match ends when both men go around touching all the turnbuckles, and Austin accidentally pulls Savio into the fourth turnbuckle for the win. Uncle Dave and I both gave this 4 stars. What say you?
I gave it 4. I really love this match. I don't know what I expected.
So
I haven't watched this in forever.
I know. I didn't know what to. I was like, well, I heard it was a good match, but I mean, it's a strap match, whatever. I like them, but they're never great. This was effing amazing. Like, not just good. It was amazing. So, Savio Vega, we can talk about, it's like, oh, yeah, that guy. But he was a hell of a wrestler, man, especially when he was in the ring.
They did have a head start. If you think about it.
Right. Well,
it was kind of like a rehearsal the night or 2 nights before.
Yeah, I was going to say they had a practice match a couple nights before in the dark.
Well, to me, that doesn't take away anything. I'm just pointing it out.
Right, yeah. Well, because you can kind of say the same thing about most matches, because usually big feuds, whatever, they usually do them on the house shows for like ever before you ever see it on TV. So, but yeah, this one, this was the one where the reason why I said it, there's a hell of a match, pal, is because apparently when the lights were out and this match was going on, Bruce Pritchard said he's like out at the announce table, like running down all this stuff to Vince, like in a frantic, like, well, we're gonna do this, and if this happens, this, we're gonna do this, and blah blah blah. And Vince is just sipping on coffee, and he's like, it's a hell of a match, pal. And he's like, well, I'm glad to see you're calm.
Well, he's gonna get paid either way, so.
Actually, he lost a crap ton of money on this show because of this,
but
he
was probably fine.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I mean, well, obviously it turned out fine in the end. But, yeah, and Jim Ross backed it up. He was like, you'd expect him to scream and yell and cuss and raise hell. But he's like, nah, he was cool, calm, and collected because he was like, what am I going to do? There's literally nothing I can do. So, there you go. But after the match, DiBiase and Austin argue with each other before Austin storms off. Savio Vega grabs the mic, and he says to cut his theme song because the song that they're playing tonight is Na 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 Na, Hey Hey Hey, Goodbye. They actually play the song. Like, they don't just chant it. They play the real song as DiBiase gets chased out of the arena by Vega. This was apparently a McMahonism because Pritchard said anytime they could, it's like, play the song. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, goodbye. It's like he just loved that effing song. But now we see one of the longest running feuds in wrestling history, Shawn Michaels versus computers, as he's chatting with people on AOL.
It's always AOL, too.
I know, right? Well, except that in your house. I think he was just typing along. I don't know what the hell he was doing there. But was it? That was in your house, right? Where he's backstage with his like glasses pulled down. He's like typing away.
I don't remember exactly which one, but I can picture it in my head though.
Yeah. But this next match, it is.
Oh, you mean current day?
Yeah.
Okay.
NXT in your house, yeah. But we got Vader with Jim Cornette taking on Yokozuna in just shy of 9 minutes. These guys I know. These guys postured throughout most of the beginning of this one, but then it gets better. And I said it got better than it had any right to be, which is not saying that it was good. It was just better than it had any right to be. Yokozuna catches a racket shot from Cornette, he catches the racket and pulls it from Cornette and lays him out. Then he drags Jim into the ring, squeezes his hand, and headbutts him. Then he attempts a bonsai drop on him, but Vader pulls Cornette, barely pulls his ass out of the way in time. I think Jim saw his life flash before his eyes. Vader splashes Yoko's leg again. Then he hits the Vader bomb for the win. On night one in the dark, Yokozuna actually beat Vader in 3 minutes. So this was another change. Uncle Dave and I both gave it 2.5 stars for average. What say you?
I Gave it 2. I was close to giving it 1. So,
Wow,
I
really?
guess it wasn't that bad, but
I thought it was fun.
I thought it was decent.
And again, this is faint praise, one of the best Yokozuna matches of this era. So and at one point he did have really good matches, but not during this time. Him and Vader both were checked into like the Duke weight loss clinic, and Jim Ross said they found out they were gaining weight somehow because in the middle of the night they'd take off to go buy fried chicken.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah. And
I've heard of guys sneaking off to go drink or do drugs, but really eat.
Yeah.
So I'm not even trying to be funny either.
It really was an addiction, man. And everybody talks. I mean, it was so bad with Yokozuna. One of his favorite meals was deep fried turkey ass dipped in mayonnaise.
Good Lord.
I've never heard of that in my life, but that was backed up by multiple people that can confirm this. So yeah. Oh my gosh, this openly made me laugh my ass off. We get a commercial for King of the Ring where kids are begging Jerry Lawler for food, and he tells them to get lost, and then he chokes on his turkey leg, and he dies, and he goes to heaven. And he's in a big wrestling ring. And then everyone that was ever named King, was a king, or had the last name King or a nickname King, they're all there. They all beat the crap out of Lawler. He asks, "Where am I?" as heaven turns into hell. And then Vince McMahon, dressed as Satan, laughs from a black throne. What the F?
I was like, what the hell does this have to do with King of the Ring?
Yeah. Because there's a bunch of kings, Greg.
Cool. I'm sold. I'll buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah, right. They had King Tut. They had Elvis. They had Don King. I'm not even joking about this stuff. But Jim Ross and Mr. Perfect talk about the card for that upcoming pay-per-view, including a rematch between Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog for the WWF title. So there you go.
Yeah, you thought AEW was the only one doing that. Nope, they promoted this stuff before, like right after too.
Yep. There you go, man. But a recap video is shown for Raw the previous night where Owen Hart cost Ahmed Johnson a match against Vader. Ahmed was being stretchered out, and then Goldust gives Ahmed mouth to mouth to wake him up. Meanwhile, JR is saying this is sick and this is hideous while he's giving him mouth to mouth. And then Ahmed wakes up furious, throws things, and then chases after Goldust, busting into his locker room, but he's not there. Ugh.
I like how Mark Miller ratted him out, by the way.
Yeah, right. He went that way. Like, thanks, Mark. But it's just like, can you imagine
a little some extra in your paycheck this week, but
yeah, right. And don't get me wrong, I understand it was like, unwanted sexual whatever, mouth to mouth. But do you think they would ever allow Jim Ross while a man is kissing another man on TV now to say, "Oh, that's disgusting, that's hideous"?
No.
Don't think that would fly in 2021. That's all I gotta say. Different times.
So it would be Sunny Kiss, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Him and Joey Janela. But anyway, we get.
Joey Janela's problem is he's too much of a perv for the women, though. So.
Yeah, I don't understand how that little drowned rat looking dude gets good looking women. Is there something I'm missing here?
Yeah, I mean, it's down south.
Oh my gosh.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, well, and Penelope Ford goes from him to Kip Sabian.
Well, that's Kip Sabian.
I mean, it is an upgrade.
I mean, look at him, you can tell, but really, Jimmy Jam wannabe?
Yeah, I know, right? It's like the dude who looks like Riff Raff. And take that however you want it.
Like, Joey Janela sucks. I'm not going to apologize for that. He offers nothing.
Yeah, a mutual friend and a listener to the podcast messaged me a picture the other day, and I was like, "What the F is this?" It was like some hardcore garbage, and he said, "GCW crap," and I was like, "Well, Joey Janela does own that place, as far as I know. So.
Oh, that, yeah. Someone did go through that, by the way.
Of course. But I guess we should take our second to last break. When we come back, we're going to get into, well, the main event of night 2, right after this.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Fubo TV offers you live sports and TV without the overpriced cable. Fubo TV offers 100 channels, live and on demand, plus over 130 streaming in 4K, and a cloud DVR is included. The Fubo TV app is available on all smart devices, so you can watch what you want when you want. There are no hidden fees, and you can cancel anytime. Cut the cord and sign up for your free trial at Fubo.tv today. Fubo TV is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we are back. It is time for, it's the main event of the show, when they edited it all together. And I didn't think it was bad, but we'll get into all that here in a minute. It's Goldust with Marlena. I think from what I saw, he's defending the Intercontinental title, correct?
Yeah, one of my notes here was I feel like this is the only time, feel free to correct me, this is the only time the Undertaker ever challenged for that title.
Yeah, I want to say so. Yeah, I can't think of any other time he would have ever challenged
at least the only noteworthy time. I'll say that.
I didn't, did I miss the Intercontinental title or something? Did he, take it off real quickly and I missed it? Because I didn't remember seeing it.
I didn't know to look for that, so I don't know.
Well, just usually it's the title's pretty prominent, but on whoever's wearing it or carrying it or whatever. But I didn't even see it. I'm like, that's why I was confused. I'm like,
was this the title? Was this the one where he left the title somewhere? I remember Dustin saying that.
Oh,
I don't know if this was the one though. Yeah, one time he left the title somewhere and it wasn't on the it was on the line and he didn't have it. Again, I don't know if this was the one, but I vividly remember him saying that.
Speaking of leaving stuff somewhere and lost and found, I have a funny story for the end of the podcast if we have time. But anyway, Goldust is defending the IC title against the Undertaker with Paul Bearer in his corner in a casket match for the IC belt. It went about 12.5 minutes. The casket for this match is gold with Goldust's star logo on top of it.
Just gonna say right off the bat, I love that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool looking. I like the customized caskets they used to do back then.
Not to digress, but have you watched that A&E treasure hunt, WWE treasure hunt thing they've been doing?
No, that's my next binge.
Watch
it's all
the Undertaker one, and you'll see all those old caskets in there. It's crazy.
Wow, they still have them?
Yeah, they're all in the warehouse. Yeah, you see all the old caskets.
The only
now I got to go back and look and see if that was in there because I forgot to look for that one.
Oh yeah, the extra big one for Yokozuna and all that.
Mm-hmm. You see the Kamala one with the stars and stuff in the moon belly, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. The Undertaker starts the match by popping up behind Goldust after the lights drop, and then he jumps him. Goldust actually manages to hit the tombstone on the Undertaker at one point. That kind of shocked me. These two go back and forth for quite a bit. In the end, Undertaker hits a tombstone on Goldust. He opens the casket, and Mankind pops out with a mandible claw. He then closes the Oh, go ahead.
This is what I was going to say. This is one of the things I love when we watch these back, because I haven't seen it in a long time. And that legit shocked the crap out of me, because I forgot about that. And I just thought it was so cool. I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot that was going to happen.
Yep, and it would lead into their never-ending feud. Which, don't get me wrong, it was a great feud.
I believe they'd already had it going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it started the night after WrestleMania 12. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way.
I just thought it was cool, though. It was when you watch these back, you forget I feel like I remember every winner, but I forget stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some details that's like, oh, yeah, that happened.
It was a really nice touch.
Well, Mankind drags the Undertaker into the casket, and he closes it up, but that damn lid broke off. So he just kind of has like shove it on there, and then he has like a casket lock. He pulls out of his pocket and he locks it closed the best he can, and then smoke billows out of it. Well, and we'll get to the aftermath here in a second, but on night one, it actually took 6 heels teaming up on The Undertaker to beat him, which seemed to be a common thing for this era.
Yeah.
Why was it always like send out like 6 random heels to either bury him or put him in a casket?
Yeah. One of the things about Royal Rumble 94 I remember so vividly is like Diesel was one of the guys that did it.
Wow.
And because of what he would do in the Royal Rumble, like an hour later, it's completely forgotten that he was involved in that.
Well, I like how
it's just funny to me. Like,
right.
You know, some guys are involved in this and you forget they were involved in it.
And Undertaker never really got revenge on any of these guys either. It's just
no,
like,
he didn't. Yeah. He still owes the Nexus one for burying him alive. Remember? I mean, that was it.
I know. Yeah. He sent John Cena after him. He did his dirty work. Yeah, this. I like how they combined these two ideas later on in their buried alive match. So a little bit of both. But anyway, Uncle Dave.
Did we do Buried Alive, by the way? We did, right?
Yeah. Now in the archives, Buried Alive from 1996. It was back in October we did that show. I asked
specifically so you can say that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Now back in the archives. The podcast obviously has its own archives. YouTube, if anything ever happens to the podcast archives, YouTube is steady. So definitely go subscribe to us on YouTube and check it out on there. But anyway, Uncle Dave only gave this 2.5 stars. I actually really liked it, and I gave it 3 stars. What say you?
I gave it 3 as well. Not because of the match, because of the overall.
I feel like
it's a casket match, so you have to grade on a curve.
Yeah, that is true. But I feel like Goldust and Undertaker actually worked really well together. I don't think they did a lot together after this, but you know, while they did work together, I mean, both are really good wrestlers. So, but anyway,
dude, Dustin is better today than he was then.
Yeah, he is.
I mean that.
He's a freak of nature. So that's good for him. But after the match, Paul Bearer gets the referees to unlock the casket. They open it, and the Undertaker is gone.
Oh!
Paul Bearer freaks out and nearly cries, shouting, "No, he's gone!" And the lights drop as the Undertaker's theme hits, and the event comes to a close. So yet again, we're in the dark. But this time it's on purpose. So that's the end of the show. I guess we should take our final break. Quick factoid about these caskets, by the way. These actual caskets, Paul Bearer had a mortician's license, and only people with legit mortician's licenses can purchase caskets, like recreationally or whatever. So. And
where do you purchase those at?
Probably Caskets R Us, which is a subsidiary of Dead Man Inc. Yeah. Like how I worked that in there?
I do.
All right. Anyway.
But you do have to have a membership card to get into Caskets R Us, right? Because you just said you have to be a mortician. So.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah, or I get in by default because my last name is Adams, so I'm related to a mortician or a morticia. So. Anyway, we're gonna take our last break.
Can I get your sister's number? Anyways, no.
No. When we come back, it is final ratings time and what is to come on the podcast for the rest of the month.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. FANATICS offers the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and gear from all the leagues, teams, and players that you love, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NCAA, NASCAR, soccer, and golf. They even offer esports gear for the gamers among us. You can shop by brand, sport, team, or player. And if you sign up for Fan Cash, you get exclusive weekly deals. So head on over to Fanatics.com today. Fanatics is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. Wrapping it up here. Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database gave this 6.2 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 5.81 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Overall, it was pretty good, but not great. What say you?
I think I'm with you. I said C+.
Yeah.
I just one of the matches that should have been good went way too long. There were some short ones in there. It was hampered by BS, as we all know. But
yeah,
it was decent.
Yeah, the opener wasn't great. The title match that the show is named after wasn't great. The strap match was amazing. Vader and Yoko was average. And the main event was pretty good, the casket match. So, all in all, I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. I would never encourage anybody to not watch it. But if you were going to watch one thing off the show, just one, it's got to be that Caribbean strap match.
Is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
I'm going to say Caribbean, but yeah, so I don't know. That's how they say it. So
that's been an argument for years, apparently. So.
Yeah, I mean, I do say Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't say Pirates of the Caribbean. That sounds weird. I don't know. I guess it depends on how you're saying it, but whatever. It's like New Orleans or New Orleans, you know?
I don't think I'd ever say New Orleans, actually. It just sounds weird. I feel like that would be like INES or EENES.
Yeah, one of them. But that does it for Beware of Dog, the 25th anniversary of the night the lights went out in South Kakalaki. For the rest of the month,
25 years later, it would happen again, but this time WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Well, factoid.
Right. Well, for the rest of the month, we don't have any other WWF shows. So I'm just saying that right now. Next month is King of the Ring month. We do have 2 King of the Rings playing, including our 1-year anniversary show that we're going to do up real big. And I got some plans down the line. But we'll get into that when it comes closer.
And what we all know, plans can change.
They definitely can. Ask Uncle Dave. But next week, we are covering NWA Capital Combat 1990, The Return of RoboCop. Oh yeah. Buckle up, buckaroos. This one's going to be a ride. But, if you need a palate cleanser, Greg, our bonus show is also next week, next Friday. We are covering ECW Hardcore Heaven 2000.
Yeah, because we hate you all.
Well, the main event of that one is Lance Storm versus Justin Credible, and Lance Storm's final match in ECW. We're covering 3 very different shows within a 2-week span. So we got Capital Combat 1990, Hardcore Heaven 2000, and then on May 26th, to close out the month, we are covering AWA Super Clash 2 from, I want to say, 87 in the Cow Palace.
I was old enough, I would have been there.
Yeah, and then you would have been like, man, it all sucked. The whole thing sucked, except for the main event.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I haven't seen the show. I'm not going to say the whole thing sucked. It probably had some decent matches on it. In the archives now, we have Super Brawl 3, if you guys want to go back and check that out. But Super Brawl 2 was, I think it was 2 years before Super Brawl 3. So they weren't super consistent with all of that. But all right, that wraps it up for today. Again, please subscribe and review if you're listening on the podcast feed. If you're not, or if you are listening on the podcast feed and you're not listening on Unhinged Sports Network, check us out, unhingedsn.airtime.pro, every Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And we are also sponsored by Fubo TV and Fanatics. We told you about them in the breaks, and the links are down in the podcast description. Thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you next week with very contrasting shows. But first, we're going to hit you with the return of RoboCop at NWA's Capital Combat.